Welcome to the Defining Moments Black Men series of the Authentic Joe Show. I'm Jolena Johnson, your host, and it's my privilege and pleasure to welcome Dr. Eugene Simpson to today's broadcast. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It has. It certainly has. Well, can you tell us a little about yourself, your occupation, and your background?
Okay. I'm going to try to do this very briefly. Dr. Eugene Simpson. I live in Oxford, Mississippi now. I work in Memphis. I'm an art teacher at two schools. One is Newcomers International, another one is Wooddale High School. I'm still a businessman. I still run two businesses, and I am now a grandfather of five adorable grandchildren. So I stay busy most of the time.
Oh, that is fantastic. Okay. Wow, Gramps. Five is a big number.
Yes.
Okay. How would you describe yourself?
Um, First, starting off, I'm a man of God, and then second, I'm an entrepreneur, businessman. Um, I love doing art, and I love being around kids that want to try to get wisdom. And so I am trying to be that next lifeline for this generation because it needs a lot of help right now. And that's one of the reasons why, even though I was retired for about 4.5 years, I went back in and I just kept taking little odd jobs so that I could prepare myself to continue to help educate people. I was a detention officer at one time. I worked for Amazon at one time. I worked for FedEx at one time. And I would just basically go in and just basically tell them, I'm here because God has allowed me to take the job. I really don't care about the job because I'm retired. So I'm just in here doing stuff. So that allowed me to see the mindset of a lot of people and a lot of managers and a lot of dysfunction that needed to be changed. So that's one of the reasons why I came out of retirement to go back in to try to help a few lost souls, so to speak.
Oh, that is beautiful. Okay. If you had to pick a phrase that would be the theme for your life, what would that be?
Hmm. Uh, One sentence or
A
um,
phrase.
a phrase. Um, Trust in God with all your might, body, and soul. That would be it. Trust.
All right. That's beautiful. Okay. You've inspired me already. And you all the education. I love it because you didn't talk about you being a principal and all this stuff. So you're doing FedEx and Amazon and all this. I love it. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for helping us, helping these children because we need it.
Thank
You're welcome. So oftentimes people will say, well, what is a defining moment? So a defining moment is a point in life when a pivotal decision must be made or when an experience fundamentally changes a person. What defining moment would you be willing to share with us today?
I have three that cultivated into one big one.
Okay.
It's about death. And those three factors have changed my life. The first one was my sister. She was murdered. And I was very upset with God because he had snatched a young lady out of my life. The next one was my cousin, who was my best friend. He did everything, and I thought I was going to be just like him. He committed suicide. Another time when I got angry at God because he was a young guy and he was like everything I thought I wanted to be. And then the last one was when my son was murdered. That was the changing point of my life. And so, once again, being mad at God, once again, trying to understand why this was happening to me. Um, and so I had to go somewhere and I had to get a lot of counseling, which a lot of people don't say that for as Black men, we need to do that, but we need to be able to go and talk and get some counseling, not just with our friends, not just with family, but you need to go and see somebody with professional help because these things sit down and fester. So that's one of the other reasons why I try to say to these young people that are out there, go and get some help. You need to go and understand why the Bible is so important because there's nobody that is smarter than God. That's the first thing. Then second, he's constantly sending people to help you, but you don't recognize the help. So if you don't understand that, then you're going to be a lost soul. And that's why we're in the situation in not just America, but around the world.
Um, thank you for sharing. And I have a couple of questions. In what period of time did those deaths occur? So between your sister, your cousin, and your son, was it a what window?
My sister, I was in college,
Okay.
came home. She was dealing with being out in the wrong place with drugs. My mother had done everything she possibly could, but for whatever reason, she just didn't feel like she could move on. And somebody murdered her. And that was when I felt angry and I felt like I wanted to go out and hurt somebody. And so I have a lot of relatives. If you ever see my family, it's a lot of people. And so God gave me one night, it was probably about 20 of us. We were all sitting out in the yard and they were ready to go get the guy. And for whatever reason, God laid it upon me to say, we can't do this. You know, that's not one of the things that she wanted. And of course, I had people that's in jail. They were like, we got you and all that kind of stuff. Long story short, I had to pray for that guy.
Mm.
Now, now go and tell your mother, the person that killed her child, that you're going to pray for that man. Very hard to do. So that's a
Absolutely.
transparency. Did I want to go and get him myself? Yes, I did. But I thought about the rest of the people that I was surrounding. Their lives would have been gone instantly. Okay. The next time, defining moment, I was going into my senior year of college. And my best friend, my second cousin, he was everything to me. I really didn't do too much that you wouldn't see me copying. It's one of the reasons why I became a Sigma, because he was a Sigma. And so whatever he did, I was going to do. Um, and
And
so,
to clarify, that's Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Thank you. Go ahead. Gotcha.
yes, all day, every day. Yes. Um, he was the cool one. He had all the women. He had a nice car. Had a nice job. But that wasn't enough in the area of success. And
Mm.
so he took his life. We don't know exactly why. We can't explain it. But here again, I was mad at God. Why? Why? You could have explained this to me, but you didn't. So the other reason, I got all eternity to sit up there and ask God. And even if God doesn't tell me, it's still going to be all good because he's God. And that's a defining moment when you find out it doesn't matter what you want, it's what you need. I didn't need to know the answer right then.
Mm.
Defining moment. Then the
Okay.
last one,
Hold on before you go to that one. Um, were you angry at him as well? Maybe for not coming to you, or how did you?
he came to me and probably about two other cousins. We were sitting in the kitchen at my mother's house, and he was saying how things had changed at his mother's house, and he didn't feel right because he was away at school, going and doing the things that he needed to do to better. And he says it didn't seem right, and so he was going to come back home, go back to work, help out the family, and he was going to give up his education, and that's what he did.
Okay.
Um, Not blaming any of them, but you just don't understand. But something was going on in his mind,
Yes.
and we talked about it, but we didn't talk enough about it, and that's why I resented him for doing that. I mean,
Yes.
he took his life. I mean, I
Yes.
was very upset about that,
Yes.
and I
Okay.
held a grudge for a long time
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
him and God.
I could see that. Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying that. I think people need to understand these things when they're
Mhm.
considering and they're losing hope, and just just hang on, because there's people around who may not be able to solve the problems, but they can maybe help love you through it as you go get counseling or some of
Yes,
those things. So
yes,
okay, and
yes.
then the third one.
This one was the hardest one. You've met my son, Josh. He was the epitome. I have four children. I have two boys and two girls. Well, these were the last two, Josh and Alexis, the babies of the family. And he had gone through the war. It changed him. Um, Afghanistan.
Okay.
The war took that youngness, that vibrant energy that he had. They took it from him. So when he came back, he was not the same boy that left. He was a man. He was a killer. And for years, he couldn't tell me what he had done. and that just festered in his soul. So, as you know, the government will not tell you, but they give you drugs, they give you uppers and downers and all this. But my son couldn't sleep. So he would have to take heavy medication because he didn't want to dream. He could not deal with what he had done. And so, probably about 2 years after he came back, he finally pulled me over the side and said, Dad, I need to tell you something. And so he went through the process of telling me what he did. But I was like, I understand. I may never understand to condone it, but you did what you did to be able to give me and your mother the opportunity to walk around here and be free. Yes. And so once he got back, he was trying to help other people. So now he's taking his chemical dependency and he's off of that, but then he's still getting the medication. So now he's going to sell it. And so he sells it to the wrong person. So the wrong person decides, you know what, we're going to take it from you. And so they shot him. So now I'm angry with God, angry with anybody that's around him and associated with him. Did I want to go and get those people? I drove to Kansas City about 3 times, Joe. And each time it was like I'm on the edge and people were calling and begging me, don't go, stop, come on back. And so it was really hard. That last time I went and I'm all equipped. I got all my stuff. I got it all planned out. I know exactly how I'm going to do it. But I wasn't going to be able to get away. I just wanted to try to hurt them like I was hurting. And it was because God just appeared and just talked to me and said, I got this. Once he said that, I was fine. I don't know how he has it. I've never looked at the person in their face. And here's the bad part. Mm-hmm. They're gone. They're still out there.
Okay. Can you explain what you mean when God said? Because, you know, a lot of people won't understand that. So you're just driving along and you hear a voice.
A voice, a feeling. The rage is gone. Now, I'm sorry, I may not be able to give as much detail. I know how I felt at the time.
No, I understand.
I'm furious. I mean, now there's probably chemical reactions that's going on in my body. You can probably see the hair on my hand or on my arm. It's raised up. I'm very, very enraged. My family knows when my eyes turn red, that there's probably no changing my mind on something because I'm pretty well gone, but there's a Heavenly Father. There's somebody that's greater than I am. There's somebody that can talk to my heart. And when I say God said, I've spoken to him enough to know his voice and the reason why I'm doing that. Am I mad? Was I cursing him out? Was I calling him everything? Yeah. But I have a loving Father that understands my pain. I have a brother in Jesus Christ that understands my pain. And this is why I'm saying to be able to come on your show and be as transparent. Am I hurting while I'm saying this? All over again. Am I going back to that point to where I want to cry? I'm right there, but I'm going to try to be cool right now. So, you know, for your listeners, so they'll be able to understand and I will be able to speak because there's so much passion that's going inside of me right now, whether people understand it or not. I think maybe one listener out there may be able to understand it in hopes that's what this is about. We can just touch one person.
Absolutely. Hallelujah and amen. That was my intent for Defining Moments. I did not know when you and I touched base briefly before the recording, I had a feeling you might talk about it, but I wasn't sure. And as I've tell everyone, I don't know what defining moment you all want to talk about, and I don't want to know because I want it to be genuine and authentic. And I want to tell you, I had no idea until now the circumstances. I did know, of course, that your son passed, but I did not know the circumstances. And I think it's important that you are being transparent about your feelings because, you know, at the times when we grew up, a lot of us grew up in church. You know, whether it was our parents or our grandparents or somebody took us to church and we had kind of formed a relationship with God, whether we were really paying attention or not. But the way we were raised was slightly different. But a lot of people in our generation didn't necessarily carry that tradition on. And so I think a lot of people are struggling now, whether they're millennials or generation Z, you know, they may not even have a relationship with God because they weren't taught to or they weren't shown to. And that's one of my concerns with what's going on in the world right now. You know, I go through challenges every single day. And if I did not have faith, I would crumble like a potato chip. Somebody said that the other day when he was trying to help me. He said, "Don't crumble like a potato chip. Stand up. You'll be okay." I was like, "Crumble like a potato chip." But so many times we want to do that. And so I like that you said you heard the voice of God, you turned around, you did not go eye for eye, tooth for tooth. And to know that that person is still there, to know that the person that aggrieved your sister was still around and not to do anything, that is supernatural strength, because you're going beyond your, because the man in you
Yes. Yes.
would just go. So what advice would you give another man if he's feeling the rage, whether it be from work, a relationship, the losing of a loved one? What 3 pieces of advice would you give him on what he could do, either stop doing or start doing, that might help him through a difficult situation like this?
I'm gonna tell you what my uncle said one time to me. Well, he's not really my uncle, but he's my mother's first cousin. I call him my uncle. He said, "Eugene, I'm not that smart, so I got to read the Bible. And then I don't do anything on my own but what the Bible says." Okay? I really don't care if you read the Quran. I don't care if you read Buddha. I don't care, Zion, all of that stuff that's out there. I know what works for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what works for me is Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I will tell people what they need, I'm only telling you from what I know. I'm not smart. Yes, I got a degree. I got 5 degrees. I wasn't trying to come on your show to talk about the degrees. It really doesn't matter. I just need to let you know that I do a lot of research. That's
Mm-hmm.
what that degree is for. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't listen to just one person. I go
Mm-hmm.
and find out for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I told you at the beginning, truth. My belief is truth. I will tell somebody, go and find out for yourself. And if God is a liar, find out and make him lie. That's all I'm going to tell you to do. If the Bible is not correct, prove it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say.
um, Thank you. And you mentioned counseling and the need for having support. So would you just share, encourage, because I know it's hard, because I can't even tell you how many Black men don't want to go to counseling.
That's because we don't trust. We don't trust. It's easier to go to the barbershop and get one of your boys to tell you what to do than it is to go to a counselor, because doctors have done us wrong for a long time. But my boy in the barbershop, he may not be as eloquent, might not be able to enunciate or pronunciate his words as well as Dr. Johnson, but he has not so much that I can write you a prescription, but he may just sit there just to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can get past the barbershop quartet when they're sitting up there cutting our hair, giving us advice. Now, I'm not saying anything is wrong, but sometimes you need that professional help. Somebody
Yes.
that can go deeper to analyze why you're feeling like that and to let you know you don't have to feel like this.
Mm-hmm.
You can get some positive words. You can get some motivation, and that will help you on your quest for truth.
Mm-hmm.
Our brothers and sisters don't go out to get it because guess what? We're busy going to Uncle Boo Boo. We going to Sally Sausage Head. And you look at their life, it's no better than yours, but they make you believe it. So as you can see, yes, I'm Dr. Eugene Simpson, but everybody in my family, they've got names for me that has nothing to do with Dr. Eugene Simpson. I have a friend that is giving me a name 1028. And what it is that all these multiple personalities that I have. So guess what? The doctor says I got multiple personalities. Learn to deal with it. You got my mother. She still calls me by her little pet name. And sometimes I act like that. I get spoiled and want my way. Um, my brother, he'll call me my name, and that's his name. I have some cousins. The whole family, when as soon as I get home, that's the only name they call me. It is not Eugene Simpson, by the way. I'm not gonna put it out there right now. I'm not gonna say anything, but yeah, maybe one day I'll be more transparent on that name. But yeah.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much. Before we go, do you have, well, first, thank you for your transparency and what you've shared, because it's very personal. I know you really haven't talked about this. So thank you for the honor and the privilege to hear this and for people to consider it. Do you have any final thoughts before we go?
My final thought is, that I'm not going to knock anybody down to accept my belief. I just hope that whatever I do, I can be that shining light so that you will ask me, who is your God and why are you able to do this? The reason why I come on here is not because I want to open up my shirt and be like Superman and that's your saving grace. My closing, not argument, but my closing statement is that you just got to have faith and believe in something that is bigger than you. These three deaths that I talked about, I know at the end of all of this, I will be able to open the door because they believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. They believe that Jesus died on the cross and rose again. So that promise that I believe in will allow me to get ready to see them again. That's why I got the hope. That's the reason why I have the patience. That's the reason why I'm able to get up. That's the reason why I can go into a culture that, and I know this is kind of far off, not what you were trying to go to, but be around in Memphis where there's somebody that is harassing and killing. We were talking about Black Lives Matter. Yeah, I'm all lives that matter. But to be able to get in there and say, what was the cause of this? That's what I'm trying to fight for. And when I'm trying to leave my legacy for my grandchildren, they'll be able to say, oh, there's Papa. Okay, I can give y'all that name. Papa, there's Papa that's right there. What did he believe in? And I can sit down and give you what I believe in. And hopefully you'll find Jesus for yourself. So that's what my statements are.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.